Hey there, beauties. Welcome back to a Fit Life Center where I teach you small coping strategies to help you either begin, continue, or maintain a life that's fit for you. And in order to develop a life that's fit for you, as I tell you all the time, you got to take a journey of discovery to find out the things that support who you are and what you want for your life. And then you got to have a little bit of courage to be willing to take small steps to make it happen. My name is Sharon. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've been working for years to help people recover from or learn how to manage or reduce symptoms of depression, anxiety, and trauma. But as you know, if you are a beauty who has been watching this channel faithfully, and I thank you for that, I am focusing on wellness because I think it is important for us to realize it is our birthright to be well, and we are responsible for doing what it takes to be well. If you're interested in what I have to offer and you live in Arizona and you want therapy, check me out at afitlifecenter.com. I can only see you for therapy if you live in Arizona. But if you want wellness coaching, you could be anywhere in the world and I can provide you with wellness coaching because I want to help you build small steps so that you can live the life you want to live. All right. Now, we are going to talk about the dreaded menopause. I said I was going to give you an update, and here is the update, right? So, I am no expert. I don't have a degree in gynecological symptoms or any of that. I'm just basically talking about my experience with it and hoping, I'm gonna adjust this camera just a little bit, and hoping that by me sharing my journey, maybe it'll at least give you some insight into your own journey, questions that you can ask your own doctor. So I will link the video where I talked about menopause to this video, right? But basically, I started having issues with insomnia, a little bit of brain fog, feeling a little irritable, sometimes a lot irritable. But the biggest issue I was really having was the insomnia, and nothing was working. I had been prescribed some medications through my doctor, didn't work for me. I tried over-the-counter stuff, didn't work for me at all. I would get maybe a couple more hours of sleep, but it was never consistent. And when I started researching what was going on, and I found out that one of the biggest symptoms connected to, or not biggest symptoms, but one of the symptoms connected to menopause was insomnia. And so I went to my OB/GYN and I explained the symptoms that they were having. They drew some blood work, which I talked about on that last video that they were gonna do that. So they drew my blood, and come to find out, like, literally I had almost no estrogen, right? And they talked about me getting on estrogen replacement. And so I told them that I'd been on estrogen replacement therapy earlier because I had a hysterectomy when I was 30 because I had fibroids and endometriosis, which was causing me incredible pain. And so I was on those hormone replacement. I had a Premarin patch, right, which was a small patch that went down on my low belly that supplemented me with estrogen. I did that for a while, and then my doctor at that time, when research started showing that women taking hormone replacement had a higher chance for breast cancer, my doctor recommended that I get off of it. So I did. And I did okay for a long time. I really wasn't having any symptoms because I probably had some estrogen in my body because I had one ovary that they left. Back up a little bit, I had a hysterectomy because of the endometriosis and the fibroid tumor. So I had a hysterectomy when I was 30. I think I left that part out. So, took that estrogen for a while. I felt great. I didn't have any problems, right? And so I eventually weaned myself off of it because I was worried about getting breast cancer. And I did fine because I think that ovary was working at the time. The more I kept going for my annual exams, the more they kept saying that they couldn't really feel that ovary anymore. And then I found out that sometimes if you don't have a uterus, the ovary thinks it doesn't have a job anymore, and so it will start to shrink up, is what they suspected was happening with me while they were having a hard time kind of feeling that ovary when I would have my annual well woman checks. So fast forward, now I start having, I'm aging, right? And I start having menopausal symptoms. And they seemed to me, maybe it wasn't rapid, I don't know, but it felt rapid to me that those symptoms started to increase rapidly. And it was impacting my daily functioning. I didn't feel as energetic as I usually felt. I couldn't sleep. And I started feeling like, and you know, I practice yoga almost every day and run and exercise. And I started noticing I was having like some joint pain, which I also found is also a symptom of menopause, because estrogen for women, I'm no doctor again, so I'm not gonna try to give you any of the medical terms, but estrogen in the body does a lot for women, and when you don't have it, it does a lot. If you're interested in hearing more about from a doctor's point of view, Oprah Winfrey, you know Oprah, she gonna talk about it. She did a like a workshop really, where she had a panel of various physicians talk about menopause. Now you do have to pay, it's like $35 for a year subscription to like the new old digital or whatever it's called. You know Oprah, she is a born entrepreneur. She is always going to find a way to make some money, and I'm not mad at her about that, because why shouldn't she, right? I just saw that she is the wealthiest black woman in the world, so I'm not mad at that. I say get your coins if you can get your coins, right? But you can go on YouTube, and I'm gonna add a little clip of them talking about it here, because I found a clip of it on YouTube. So I'm gonna add some clips of it on there. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because about what I'm about to say. So when my doctor recommended me getting back on hormone replacement therapy, obviously I was nervous because my provider before told me to get off to decrease my chances of getting breast cancer, right? And so she told me that, you know, at the time that research came out, it created kind of a panic. But now they're looking at risk, right? There are some women who are at a higher risk of developing breast cancer than other women, right? For example, if you have a family history of breast cancer, if you've had breast cancer before, those kinds of things, right? If you have certain medical issues. And so with me talking to her, I was at low risk based on the criteria, right? And so at the time of the appointment, I did not take the option for hormone replacement therapy because I still wasn't sure. I wanted to do a little bit of my own research. So sure enough, I went to Google University first and then YouTube University. And then I did some, you know, I learned how to read research papers, right? College, right? That's what you learn, right? If you get a degree in psych. So all of what she told me, what I was reading supported what she told me, right? And then I saw that panel with Oprah, and it confirmed what she told me. And there were women on the panel that were talking about their symptoms, and my symptoms were right in there with their symptoms, right? And I was like, okay. So I made the decision for myself. Again, I am not a medical provider. I am not telling you what you should do. I'm just telling you my story. I want to point that out. I am just giving you my story. I'm not giving you advice on what you should do. Let's make that clear. For me and my journey, I decided to go on hormone replacement therapy, but I wanted to get something that was the least invasive to my body, or something that my body would recognize easily. So my doctor told me about plant-based estrogen that is produced at a compound therapy a compound pharmacist who actually makes it up for you, right? So I found a compound pharmacy in my area and contacted my doctor and asked her to send a prescription for it, right? And so it came in a tube that looked like this. I have it turned around backwards so you can't see my information, right? And it tells me on here to do 4 clicks. So this bottom part turns, the top comes off. You can see a little bit of it right there. The top comes off, and then I click it 4 times, the cream comes out, and then it tells me to rub it on my inner thigh 1 time daily. So for the last 2 weeks, I have been using this cream, and I have noticed a reduction in, let's not forget the wonderful hot flashes. I was having those too, which felt like I was going to burst into flames at the most opportune times, and sweat would be dripping down the side of my face. And those hot flashes made me feel irritable, anxious a little bit. And it would only last for, 30 seconds, a minute, however long. But they would also wake me up in the middle of the night. I would wake up, I would feel weird. And that's the only word I can use to describe it, was this weird sensation, and then like anxious, and then sweat pouring down. And my husband would be like, "You're sweating." And I was like, ink, ink, ink to him, right? Not his fault. And then he's like, "Why are you sweating?" I don't even want to talk about it, because how do I even begin to tell you what's happening to my body? I cannot. So when I started that, about 2-3 weeks has been now. The date's on here. When did I get this stuff? So yeah, it's been about 3 weeks or so now. It took a while, but I started noticing first the hot flashes weren't happening as much, right? I'm still having them, but they are not happening as much, and they are not as intense. Now remember, my estrogen level was almost to 0. I'm not kidding you. And so I didn't expect it to work right away, because I'm sure I need to get some kind of buildup of estrogen in my body before I see the full effect of this, right? But I did notice within a few days, I started to have less of the hot flashes. And then I noticed that I started sleeping a little bit better. I was able to sleep, get to sleep quicker and sleep longer. So I have a sleep hygiene routine, which I may do a video about sleep hygiene routine, because it's really important that you have a routine around your sleep, because part of sleep is habitual, right? And if you don't have a regular sleep routine, you will not sleep well usually, right? So I usually am in the bed about, say like 9 o'clock is usually when I'm in the bed, right? And then I'll read or watch a silly YouTube video at first to try to relax and go to sleep. So I noticed that within about 30 to 45 minutes of me being in the bed, I would fall asleep. I used to wake up around 12 or 1, and then I would be woke all night. And I mean literally all night. Like I would see the sun come up the next day, and then I couldn't function. There's the brain fog, yada, 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 right? So I first started noticing when I took it that I slept until like 2 o'clock. And then I would have like hot flash. It would come, it would go, wouldn't be as terrible, and then I could go back to sleep. I've noticed that that is stretching out longer and longer. So last night I slept, I didn't wake up this morning until 4 o'clock. And I had a sensation like I could have had a hot flash, but I didn't actually have a full one. It was like a weak one. I didn't even really break out into a full sweat. And then I fell back to sleep for a little bit, and then I woke up and it was about 6 o'clock. So something is definitely changing with that. The other thing I take is this thing. I'll put it up to the camera so you can see it. It's called Menopause Complete Probiotics, right? And this was formulated for women, by women, to help with some of those menopausal symptoms. Like I started noticing sometimes my stomach would be bloated, like I wasn't digesting my food well. As you know, I always talk about this, I have food allergies anyway. They say that it's supposed to help with hot flashes, and things like that, because it has folic acid, B12, zinc in it, right? It also has ashwagandha, right? If any of y'all watch Tabitha Brown, she's always talking about ashwagandha, right? She says ashwagandha increases her libido. Now, I haven't noticed that it increases my libido, but it does have a very much calming effect. So if you're having that irritability that's coming from menopause, it might help. Again, I'm not a doctor, can't recommend it, but you know, whatever. I get it off of Amazon, right? And so it definitely helps with the bloating that I experienced in my stomach. I was actually able to go to the beach and I wore a bikini and I was not self-conscious of my stomach, and that hadn't been happening before because my stomach was so bloated that she was not going to be on display. But I went to vacation with my husband for our anniversary, wore a bikini, and I felt all right about myself. I was like, you look all right, girl. For your age, you still hanging in there, right? So these are the things that I have been doing to help with these symptoms, and I'm starting to see some benefit. I'm sleeping better. I don't feel as cranky. I don't have the brain fog. My energy is starting to return. It's still a little deficit there, but it's coming back. What else is going on? I also make sure, like I said, I follow a daily regimen where I try to eat well, take care of myself, keep my stress level down. But I want to talk about the good parts of menopause for a second, because right, everything I'm describing sounds like trash, right? Who wants to deal with that? And it's not pretty. But there's some good parts of menopause that I do like. Menopause has given me zero tolerance for BS. I cannot deal with no BS. Don't bring it to me. Don't want it. Not interested. No. When I tell you I can say a no so quick it'll make your head spin, I'm not even kidding you. I used to, in my earlier life, put up with so much trash that would have me stressed out. Trying to manage them symptoms in other people, I'm not interested. Get somebody else to do it. Call somebody else. I am not the one. I I appreciate that about me. And I'm clear on it. And it is not on a case-by-case basis anymore. It is across the board. I don't care who it is. I am no longer interested. I really check for my own pleasure. What makes me happy? What brings me peace? How do I get to rest? How do I bring ease to my life? That's what I'm interested in. Anything else? Not interested at all. Menopause helped me get there because I didn't have the ability to tolerate bullshit, not another day. And so I don't, from anybody at any time. And it was freeing as fuck. Love it. I love that for me, right? And I hope if you're going through menopausal symptoms, you experience that side of it. That you don't have to keep on suffering and putting up with the expectations that other people have for you. Because I look at my life now, and the chances are I am not going to live as long as I have already lived, right? Whatever life I have left, I better make it count. I better make it good. And it is my responsibility to make it good. And so I take the challenge, and I do. So this is my update on what's been going on with me with these menopausal symptoms. I will keep you updated maybe another month or 6 weeks or so when I see more changes. I'll let you know. Oh, the last thing I will say is the joint pain is starting to go away. I'm not feeling as tight, right? I also practice yoga every day, which loosens up my body. But when I wake up in the morning, that is not feeling as tight. So I think the estrogen cream is working. So like I said, maybe in 2 months or so, I'll do another one of these videos to give you another update on how it's going. But I hope this has helped in some way. But more than that, I hope whatever I'm talking about for you is giving you the infrastructure, the information to start to build a life that's fit for you. See you later.